Okay, you might notice that I am by myself and we're supposed to not have an empty chair sitting next to me. Stephen has left to make sure that the grandson gets to the hockey arena on time. We might be being joined watch for Brent Crane about now. But
yep, I'm keeping an eye out. I'm hoping he comes in under his own name.
Okay. Another thing you can test for is texture and structure. Texture is the mixture of mineral particle sizes. Sand is big, clay is small, and how much of each you have in the soil makes a difference how it acts. So texture is what size particles there are in the soil, and that makes a difference to how the soil acts when you put water in it and chemicals in it and air in it. Structure is how well the particles stick together. Anyway, structure is how well the particles are stuck together in the soil. The better that they're stuck together with a little bit of sand and a little bit of clay and crumbs, the better that there's the air and water moves through the soil. So you can test the structure of your soil. You can take a handful of soil. Actually, you take about 5 times as much water as soil, and you put the soil into the water and shake the living daylights out of it in order to get the particles to break apart and tell you how much sand there is, how much soil silt there is, that's medium-sized particles, and how much clay there is. So I just this week, I was at the grandkids' house and I could not find what I should have been using. You want to use a glass jar that's got straight sides, and narrow is better. An olive jar, an old spice jar. I couldn't find one of those, but I could find a wine glass. So I've put five little scoops of water and 1 scoop of soil in here, and then stir the living daylights out of it. Or if you have a jar, you shake the living daylights out of it. And what happens is all the soil particles will settle. The first ones that settle are the rocky ones, the heavy ones, the sand, and they settle out real quickly. If you look and avoid my reflection of my fingers, there's the sand, which settled out in like 35 seconds. And here's the silt, which settled out in 4 or 5 minutes. And the clay is still floating in the water. Over a period of time, I think in the case of our soil, it took about 4 hours, 5 hours. If you look, there's a little bit of a very, very light orangey layer beginning to form up here. And that's the clay beginning to settle out. And of course, the organic matter is going to keep staining the water, and the humus is staining the water, and the still decomposing organic matter is going to float. So you can look and say, I've got a mostly sand soil. If I had a straight-sided jar, I could actually figure the percentages and look in a soil book, and it would tell me that if I have over 20% clay, I've got a soil that acts like clay, which means it holds more moisture, has more nutrient, but packs down a little more readily. I have a sandy soil. In fact, our soil test, I think you might be able to tell here a little bit better, a little bit of orangey layer up there. That's a little bit of clay that's settling. In looking at that packed down soil in what used to be a cornfield, think about that jar or cup that you stirred or shook the soil particles. The soil was wet, it was full of water, and then they churned it with the wheels of equipment. And that's exactly what happened. Is the soil settled, the sand settled, the clay was separate, and the clay layer became a cap that kept water from moving through the soil. And that's how compaction happens. So that's why they tell us, stay the heck off your garden if the soil's wet. Don't go churning the soil when it's wet, because it separates, and now it's not flocculated well. Now it doesn't have pore space in it.